When we talk about naval warfare, our minds often jump to fleets, ship numbers, and technological advantage. Victory, we assume, is decided by who has the bigger guns or the more advanced ships. But history tells a different story. Sometimes, the deciding factor isn't size, or firepower, or even numbers. Sometimes, it's about leadership under unimaginable pressure. In the late 16th century, the Korean peninsula became the center of a massive conflict. The Imjin War began in 1592, when Japanese forces launched a full-scale invasion of Korea, with the ultimate goal of conquering Ming China. On land, the invasion was devastatingly swift. Cities fell, armies collapsed, and the capital was abandoned. The situation was critical, but there was one domain where the outcome was still in doubt: the sea. And at the heart of the naval resistance stood one man, Admiral Yi Sun-sin. Yi Sun-sin was not born into power or privilege. His early career was a struggle against political intrigue and setbacks. At one point, he was even stripped of his rank, imprisoned, and demoted to a common foot soldier due to court politics. This detail is crucial. When we look at great leaders, we often imagine a story of uninterrupted success. Yi's story was the opposite. His authority wasn't built on connections, but on relentless preparation and proven competence. When the Japanese invasion began, Yi was serving as a naval commander in the southern region. He understood something fundamental. Control of the sea would determine the fate of the entire war. Armies march on their stomachs, and their supplies move on ships. Disrupt the ships, and you starve the army. This wasn't a dramatic gamble. It was clear-eyed, strategic reality. One of the most famous elements of Ye's strategy is the geobuxian, or turtle ship. But we need to separate myth from engineering. The turtle ship wasn't some magical, unsinkable weapon. It was a brilliantly designed assault vessel. It had a covered, curved deck, reinforced with iron plates and spikes. This made it incredibly difficult for enemy soldiers to board, a common tactic at the time. It was armed with cannons on all sides, allowing it to plow into enemy formations and create chaos. In the close-quarters combat of 16th century naval warfare, this was a decisive technological edge. But technology alone doesn't win wars. Yi Sun-sin's true genius was combining these ships with disciplined formations and a masterful use of terrain. He avoided open sea battles, where numbers would dominate. Instead, he lured enemy fleets into narrow straits and channels with treacherous currents. In these confined waters, the larger Japanese fleets couldn't maneuver effectively, and their numerical advantage became a liability. This tactical brilliance allowed him to repeatedly defeat forces that vastly outnumbered his own. One of the most defining moments of his command came after he was once again targeted by his political rivals. He was removed from his posts, and his replacement led the Korean Navy into a catastrophic defeat at the Battle of Chilchiliang. Of a fleet of over 150 warships, only 12 survived. 12. In naval terms, this was total annihilation. Facing complete collapse, the court had no choice but to reinstate Yi Sun-sin. He was given command of those last 12 ships. Records show that many officials urged him to abandon the navy and join the ground forces. The situation was hopeless. But Ye's response has become legendary. He declared, "I still have 12 ships. As long as I am alive, the enemy will not dare to look down on us." This wasn't just bravado. It was psychological warfare. He understood that morale, both for his men and the enemy, was a weapon in itself. This set the stage for the Battle of Myeongnyang in 1597. Perhaps his most incredible victory. With his 12 ships, he faced a Japanese fleet estimated at over 130 warships. He chose his ground carefully. The Myeongnyang Strait, a narrow channel notorious for its incredibly fast and dangerous currents. He turned the geography into his greatest ally. As the massive Japanese fleet entered the strait, the powerful tidal flow threw their formations into disarray. Ships collided, commands were lost in the noise, and their advance stalled. Yi's small, disciplined squadron held the line, focusing their fire on the enemy command ships. What followed wasn't a desperate last stand, but a masterclass in controlled chaos. The Japanese fleet, unable to press their advantage, was forced into a humiliating retreat. This single battle didn't end the war, but it changed everything. It halted the Japanese advance, secured vital supply lines, and reignited hope across the nation. It proved that leadership and strategy could overcome impossible odds. His victories were the product of meticulous preparation, intelligence gathering, logistical discipline, and highly trained crews. He kept detailed war diaries, which give us a rare and unfiltered look into the mind of a great commander. These diaries aren't filled with heroic speeches. They're filled with notes on troop readiness, supply management, and punishing corruption. These are the unglamorous, essential foundations of victory. In 1598, during the final major battle of the war at Myeongnyang Point, Yi Sun-sin was struck by a stray bullet. As he lay dying, his final order was, "The battle is at its height. Do not announce my death." Whether this is interpreted literally or symbolically, it reflects the core of his entire career. Duty before glory, responsibility before recognition. He didn't care about his own legacy. He cared about the continuity of command and the successful outcome of the battle. So why, centuries later, is Yi Sun-sin still revered as one of the greatest naval commanders in history? It's not just because he won battles, or because of his undefeated record. It's because he understood systems. He saw that war wasn't just about dramatic clashes. It was about supply lines, geography, morale, discipline, and timing. He demonstrated that even when political systems fail, when resources vanish, and when all seems lost, a competent and determined leader can rebuild from the ashes. His career illustrates a timeless principle. Technology matters, numbers matter, and strategy matters. But it is discipline and resolve under pressure that ultimately determine survival. Yi Sun-sin's legacy isn't a myth. It's a testament to consistency, preparation, and the quiet, unshakable resilience of a leader who simply refused to break. Admiral Yi Sun-sin's legacy is not just a story of impossible naval victories. It's a testament to the power of consistency, meticulous preparation, and unwavering resilience. His genius wasn't a sudden spark in the heat of battle. It was forged over years of discipline. Even when he was demoted and misunderstood, he didn't just command ships. He built an entire ecosystem of naval power from the ground up. He redesigned warships, revolutionized naval tactics, and most importantly, he won the hearts and minds of his sailors and the common people. This is where his leadership transcends the battlefield. Yi didn't rely on brute force. He established a self-sufficient supply chain, turning his naval bases into bustling hubs of agriculture and industry. His soldiers were well-fed, his ships were well-maintained, and his intelligence network was second to none. He understood that sustainable success is built on a solid foundation. He wasn't just fighting a war. He was building a resilient community capable of weathering any storm. This holistic approach is a masterclass in what we now call systems thinking. He saw the entire chessboard, not just the next move. His famous diary, the Nanjung offers a rare unfiltered window into his mind. It's more than a war journal. It's a record of his thoughts on duty, his concerns for his people, and his profound sense of responsibility. He wrote about the weather, his health, and the letters from his family. This reveals a leader who is deeply human, one who felt the immense weight of his command but never buckled under it. He teaches us that true strength isn't the absence of fear or doubt, but the courage to act in spite of them. So, what can we learn from a 16th century admiral in our modern world? The lessons are timeless. In business, politics, and our personal lives, we often chase short-term wins. Ye's story reminds us that true impact comes from building something that lasts. It's about investing in people, preparing for crises before they happen, and leading with integrity and a clear sense of purpose. It's about creating systems that empower others to succeed even in our absence. Admiral Yi Sun-sin's victories were spectacular, but his true legacy is the standard of leadership he set, a standard of selfless devotion, strategic foresight, and an unbreakable spirit that continues to inspire leaders, innovators, and anyone facing their own impossible odds today. His life proves that one person, armed with conviction and a relentless commitment to preparation, can indeed change the course of history. Thank you for watching. If you found the story inspiring, please like and subscribe for more deep dives into history's most fascinating figures.